skipper's done it.
Beautiful chapter it is for the Bombers.
It could just be a defining moment in their season. They'll turn at 5-4 and go into next week's game at the dream time at the G with plenty of confidence. Big winners, the Bombers over the Eagles.
Well, Scotty, it was the Bombers' biggest win of the season and probably, or most likely, their best. They certainly got the break even out of the middle with those clearances early on in that first half.
Look, the boys were outstanding. I thought the midfield really controlled things for the team. I thought their midfielders, their guns, had little impact on the game, yet our midfielders, Zarakis, Zach Merritt, Watson, Heppel, and then the players, Goddard, were all extremely good and very damaging with the possessions they had. So I thought that was critical.
Essendon had standouts at either end of the ground. Michael Hurley down back continued his form, and Joe Danaher as well was a star up the other end. What did you make of their contributions?
Both are outstanding. Both give their team enormous confidence that you know that the mids will get the ball in quick on the back of knowing you've got a good target up there. Hurls is controlling the back line. His intercept marking's outstanding. His long kicking, he really creates play. It's possible that you could argue, without putting any pressure on the boys, that perhaps the best key back and the best key forward in the comp at the minute are playing for Essendon.
We know competition's pretty hot for spots as the number one ruckman, Tom Bell-Chambers, half a dozen goals in the VFL yesterday, but Matthew Leuenberger really stood up out of the middle and gave the Bombers first use. What did you make of his performance?
Lou was fantastic. Some help from Joey Danaher, but takes a lot of that ruck role on himself and really gave the midfielders first use out of the centre. And we know how important centre clearances are at Etihad Stadium, and the boys were able to dominate that today. And with the forward line functioning so well, and the pressure that they applied making the ball, if they didn't score, they made it very hard for West Coast to exit the D50. So it was a good all-over contribution from the mids to get it in and then the forwards to keep it in. Their pressure was elite, and that continued all over the ground.
But the Bombers, as we've seen so far today, just surging that ball forward, getting it down towards Hooker and Green. Green picks it up and snaps another one.
So that's 2 wins in a row now against top 4 opposition. What do you think that says about this group here?
It says it's a group that's really starting to come together. We heard John speak about it early in the year that the cohesion wasn't quite there yet. Clearly coming along. We're starting to see those players that returned starting to hit their straps as well, and the younger players really bob up as well and contribute heavily in both the wins. It's a sign of maturity and growth in the team. 2 quality opponents have been able to come out and start those games well, get off to a good start and then continue that on. Really pleasing for the club.
Well, hopefully it can continue for a number of weeks to come. Scotty, really appreciate your insights and look forward to the Friday footy panel, mate.
Always a pleasure.
Real pressure though being applied by the Bombers at the moment, and look at the little Tiwi Bomber. Has 11 goals so far this season and really has become an excitement machine for the Bombers. And he's kicked another one.